Hello, you amazing people. Welcome back to RX Beams. Today we're jumping into r/nuclear revenge. So just get ready. Just get ready. Get yourself a snack, drink, and let's get right into the video. Drive long, sharp nails into my fence. Kill my vine. Enjoy the weeds my sibling with. Not sure if this counts as nuclear, but was told to post here. So here goes. TLDR at the bottom. This happened in the summer of 1974 when I was 4 years old. When I was a kid, we had a next door neighbor who was a total mega bitch. Mega was a 40-something woman who liked high heels, mules, big jewelry, lots of makeup, and wore long, flowy kaftans in garish colors that did not flatter her. I already love the writer of this. She had a big perm, remember it's the 70s, a huge ass, and was notorious in our neighborhood for being an entitled twat. Her favorite thing was to go onto neighbors' landings, either early in the morning or late at night, and steal decorations and potted plants, which she would then put in her back garden. She once even dug up someone's small tree out of their front yard because, according to the neighbor, she felt it would look better in her garden. Total bitch. For the most part, she left my family alone. My family has a take-no-shit rep in the neighborhood, and she knew it. Only glare at me and my sibs when we played outside. She hated kids. Sadly, that didn't last. One day, one of my sisters got badly sliced by a long nail when she went to pick flowers off the passion flower vine on the fence. Important later. Turned out, Mega had hammered dozens of long nails into our fence so she could hang potted plants she'd most likely stolen. The leaves on the vine had hidden them, until my sister got sliced. She had to get a tetanus shot, which made her sick all day. Mom was pissed, so she went out and actually spent the rest of the day hammering each and every nail back through the fence and into Mega Bitch's garden, causing many of the pots to fall and break. This is probably why she did what she did. About a month later, my mom goes into our kitchen and sees a man in our yard. She goes out and asked, "What are you doing?" Guy tells her he was a gardener and had been hired to get rid of the vine on the fence. Mom asks him who had hired him to do this. "The owner of the fence," he told her and gestured her to Mega Bitch's house. Mom told him, calmly, since none of this was his fault, that it wasn't Mega Bitch's fence and she was the owner. The poor guy was horrified. However, the damage was done. He'd already cut into the hardwood and roots, and now our vine was dead. After the poor guy left, Mega Bitch stiffed him. We found out later. Mom went to Mega Bitch's house and confronted her. That bitch didn't even deny it, just laughed in my mom's face and said, "I did it, so what? It's not like you can do anything about it," then sauntered back into her house. She just messed with the wrong family. 2 days later, Mega went on a 2-week vacation with her husband, an asshole, to Cabo. Revenge time. The day she left, my older siblings, along with a family friend, decided Mega Bitch's back garden needed improvements. So they climbed the fence, went into her garden, dug up all the pretty flowers and small trees, carted them out along with the stolen decorations, and replaced them with high pollen weeds, quick-growing ivy, and lots of poison oak and poison ivy that they'd carefully dug up from a nearby state park. I was too young to help, sadly. We then temporarily moved our 3 dogs into our backyard. Neighbor was afraid of them despite the fact that they were 2 Pomeranians in this small mutt. We also had a 9-foot fence which was too high for her or her husband's fat ass to climb, so we knew our garden would be safe from her. My family excitedly waited. When Mega got back and saw her new and improved garden, she threw the biggest, most epic tantrum and meltdown we'd ever seen. It was spectacular. A whole class of sugared-up, pissed-off preschoolers couldn't have thrown a bigger tantrum. From the top of the fence, we all watched. Dad took the day off to see the freak-out, as he put it, as Mega Bitch screamed and ranted, pulled her hair, kicked the weeds, and threw anything she could get her hands on, all the while cussing and screeching like she was getting a chili powder enema. Then she spotted all of us watching her. She yelled and cursed at all us laughing kids, coming to the correct conclusion we had done this to her precious garden. By this time, all the surrounding neighbors were also watching, but she of course zeroed in on us. Mega then stormed over to our house and banged on our door until Mom opened the door. Dad let her deal with it, as he was still laughing his ass off. Mega then demanded my family to not only put all those ugly plants out, and to, of course, pay for her new ones and plant them, and do it now. Right now. Our mom just looked at her, yawned, told her she had 0 proof it was her kids who'd done it. Mom knew, even sat and watched while me and my siblings did it, laughing the whole time. I think at one point my dad even helped. Mom then reminded her that she had stolen dozens of plants from the neighbors, had been caught blatantly stealing from their front gardens, yet was surprised that someone had retaliated. Mom laughed, told her to f off, and went back inside. She ranted at us through the door for about an hour, till her voice blessedly gave out, then stomped back to her house. She avoided us from then on, and would give a death glare to my mom or whoever saw her. Mom would just smile, give her the finger, and go about her business. She was intimidated by my dad and wouldn't do anything when he was around, but Dad worked a lot, so wasn't there most of the time. We donated most of the dug-up plants to neighbors she'd stolen from and returned the stolen ornaments and decorations to their rightful owners, if we found them, but kept 2 rose bushes which we planted by our back gate, a ceramic hearth cat, which I still have, and a glass and metal sun god decoration nobody claimed. Meg never did get all of the weeds and didn't realize it was poison oak she was pulling barehanded until she and her husband got horrible rashes over 1/3 of their bodies, and I was told, in some very unfortunate places. Edit. Some people have been asking why my mom didn't use Meg's words. I did it, so what? It's not like you can do anything about it. Then slammed the door in her face. She thought about saying that, but she was smart enough to A, never admit to any alleged wrongdoing, not that anyone else in the neighborhood thought getting their stolen stuff back from the neighborhood asshole, EP, was wrong, and B, by not admitting to anything made Meg much more subdued and paranoid. On the off chance it actually wasn't us, and made her more leery of all her neighbors. Made life in the neighborhood better in the long term, since from then on no plants or decorations were ever stolen again. I love this story. If only it was like 2014 that this happened instead of 1974, because then it would for sure be on YouTube right now. Lady wouldn't vacate private parking space. Good luck finding your licenseless car in another country police impound lot. I have lived in an apartment complex in Lisbon, Portugal. The where is important for the last 4 years. If anyone's from here, you'll know parking is hell. Fortunately, my building has a private garage. However, as is often the case, some parking places are more difficult to park in than others. I have one of the easier ones. Last year, I was offered a job abroad and took it. Thought I'd be nice, parked my car at my parents' where they have plenty of space, and left a notice in the building elevator that went along the lines of, I'm the owner of 3B and will be away for at least 6 months. Feel free to use my parking spot. Ended up being away for longer, almost a year. Came back to see my parking spot occupied, which was okay, since I offered for it to be used. Put another notice in the elevator, this time to say I was back and would use the parking spot again. Gave it 2 days, and picked up my car from my parents. Went into my garage, and my space was still being used. Had to park somewhere on the street and decided to give it another day. The day after, it was occupied again by the same car. Asked a couple neighbors and figured out it belonged to a lady living 2 stories above me. Went up to talk to her, and she immediately got defensive and said that her parking spot is very difficult for her to park in, and since I was away for longer than I had announced, I lost the space. Which is stupid logic, as the spots are bought with the apartment. It literally belongs to me. She also told me I couldn't use her parking space instead, as she was using it for storage. Went to the building admin, who said he'd talk to her. He did, and came back shaking his head. Nothing. I sent a registered letter to her to stop using my space and giving her 48 hours to take her car elsewhere. The next day, I saw the unopened letter in the garbage bin beside the mailboxes. I ended up scouting my garage, waiting for her to leave, and would immediately park my car, hoping she'd take the hint. She didn't, and we ended up doing this dance for a few weeks, up until the day I came back to see my entire driver's side keyed. That was the final straw. I talked to a friend who owns a towing company. We chose a Saturday morning. The last few weeks she hadn't left home on Saturdays. I knew, as I had been watching her car like a hawk, so I thought we'd have big chances of her not noticing anything until everything was done, and towed her car. The plan initially was to leave the car just down the road, but that felt too close and too easy. Then I thought about it. Leaving it in a city about 15 minutes away, but it still didn't feel quite right. My friend jokingly said, let's leave it in Madrid. FYI, Madrid is in Spain, about 600 kilometers, 375 miles away. I knew he was joking, but Madrid did feel right. I asked if he had enough time. He had, so off we went. Once we got to Madrid, we went out for lunch, strolled around the city, and waited until it got dark and the streets empty. In the meantime, we had already decided on where to leave the car, a handicapped parking close to a police station, and so we did. As a bonus, my friend also took both license plates off her car. Then we drove back home. It has been 2 weeks and I haven't seen her car since. One of these days, I might leave a letter in her mailbox telling her to contact Madrid police, but in the meantime, I'll enjoy being able to use my parking whenever I want to. This should be cross-posted on Entitled People because that woman, oh my gosh, like how dare you have that reaction when somebody who has been doing something so kind for you for a whole year decides to, come back and take what is rightfully theirs. That's just absolutely ridiculous.